It's a sexy process. Engineer tells you how to go through the buyers. I love it. Rick, maybe just talk about one of your last couple deals, where you find the buyer, kind of the process that you brought them through. And maybe also tell us kind of who you are and where you're from.
Well, I use the same process on every deal as far as finding the buyers. But I'll use two of them that were kind of a pair of properties from the same seller. I have another one that I'm working now getting a buyer for, but what we do is we come up with the property description. We get with Nick to get all the pricing down, how much per month, and the how much we're going to sell the property for in the end. But once we do that, we get it published live on through AppFolio, which is NAT processing. That's a service that we use. That's run by one of our high six associates. And what that does is once we publish it there, it goes out live on the internet to a lot of different websites. And from there, between that and putting it out anywhere from 5 to 10 property signs, you get a property sign, and you have arrow signs locally that direct people to the property. From that point, it's just people see the phone number and the information on your signs, or they see the ad on the internet, and when they call or they send you an inquiry via email, then you just respond to them and ask them to go check out your website, and the website explains the rent-to-own process. It's not for everybody, but we recommend they go look at that before we even really get into conversation with them. Once they've done that, they give us a call back. We schedule a viewing, and we send them the next steps for them, and an application, and they fill that out, and then we screen them, which is really two phases. We do the initial screening. We go through what they have for down payment. If they have like 3% or 10% up front, then how much they can supplement that over the next 2 years or so for the lease period. And then we get together with Nick, and we'll set up a buyer's meeting and sit down with them, go through everything. And prior to that, we send it to screenthetenant.com, and they do the debt to income ratio, the credit check, the background check, and they look and they come back to us with a pretty comprehensive report that tells us when they're going to be mortgage ready. And that's when we have our buyers meeting to go all through that with them.
Super riveting, isn't it? It's a sexy process. Yep. Engineer tells you how to go through the buyers. I love it, Rick. Appreciate it. Tell me where or why we found out where you found these buyers, because you're using that processing, and then you work them through the entire process. And the reason why we're going through this as well, and as you attended any type of workshop or anything like that we run, we have a completely different mentality when it comes to our buyers versus probably other people you've seen in the space. And that is, we don't just place people in properties and collect non-refundable deposits and hope they fail. No, what we do is we have a very systematic process. You just heard Rick go through it. It took almost 5 minutes to go through the entire process to ensure that our buyers have success, or at least we're putting them in the best position possible in order to have success. From vetting them through a funnel, so vetting them through a funnel, to then utilizing third-party vendors to then get clarity on their current position, what they make, debt to income ratios, credit scores, then crafting up a customized agreement with that third party or with that buyer, and then having them sign in front of an attorney, even though it's not an actual closing, it's a formal lease signing, as more of a, protect your ass across the board, both you and them. Because when people come to the table with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, upwards of $80,000, $90,000 like Rick has had, we want to ensure that the attorney is now collecting that money and then dispersing it. So that way they're the ones handling the cash. So that way it's not what you said and what the tenant buyer said, but at the end of the day, it's what the third party, like the attorney, was able to go through. So super important that we bring them through this entire process. So Rick, maybe just tell, maybe the buyers that you've had, why they needed your program in order to go ahead and acquire a property.
Well, the actual first one that I had turned out to be, she was 18 years old, owned a paving company, which she started on her own. She grew up in the business with her family, but she had a $90,000 payday one. She had that to put down. She was going to put down 125, and her attorney recommended not to do that. But anyway, the reason they needed it is because they didn't have 2 years of W-2 income to show. So, financially, they were well qualified, and there were no credit issues in that particular case. There were two others. The two after that were, one of them was single guy, wanted to renovate a house, and the house needed renovation. So he wanted to rehab it. He had a significant down payment, but he needed time to qualify for a mortgage. So he just needed time. And the other ones didn't have a substantial down payment, but over the 2-year period, they could get it up to the 10%. And they needed a little bit of work on their credit, which screentenant.com does have. They do have credit repair service that they work with the buyer. So
Love it. Mike Mack. Sorry, Rick, didn't mean to cut you off. Mike Mack, maybe tell us about your buyers.
Hey, I tell you what, repeat the question. I missed the last piece.
Just tell us where your buyers, maybe where you found your buyers. I know you found a lot of these deals prior to NAP processing, so maybe talk through that process if you're not using NAP processing, and then why your buyers needed it. What's their background?
Yeah, so I've had several different types of buyers come through my homes and purchase my homes. I would say half of them are probably have credit issues, and the other are more so just need more time to get their ducks in a row, right? They need more seasoning for the bank to give them a loan. And, they just need 2 years of seasoning because they're self-employed. So before NAP processing, I was heavily marketing on Zillow, and RentLinks is pretty much like NAP processing, right? Where it just blasts it on 30 or 40 sites for you. I would also put it on Facebook Marketplace in my immediate area. So I would, just try to drum up as much action as possible with all my properties, and then weed out the glorified renters, like we like to, call them, which is probably 95% of them. And then really pre-qualify the people who are interested in the property. I never chased any buyers, right? You want them to be self-motivated to go through our program and to buy from us, just because it's not a traditional way of buying. It's something that happens over time, and you want them to be self-motivated. And I think that's a key factor that I look for as well.